What you're about to hear will make your blood boil. And I'm not talking about just another wrestling storyline. I'm talking about respect. I'm talking about legacy. I'm talking about whether WWE's newest so-called ring general just committed career suicide on live television. Because Saturday night's main event just gave us the most controversial moment of 2024. And what happened after the camera stopped rolling will make you question everything you thought you knew about Gunther, John Cena, and the current state of WWE. I'm talking about an apology that's splitting the WWE Universe right down the middle. I'm talking about grown men and women in the locker room choosing sides. And I'm talking about you, yes, you watching this right now, being lied to about what really went down in the aftermath. Hello viewers, if you're new here, please don't forget to like and hit the subscribe button for daily updates on WWE Raw. Let me set the scene for those who somehow missed the atomic bomb that dropped at Saturday night's main event. Gunther, the man who spent the last 2 years telling us he's the greatest thing to ever step foot in a WWE ring, comes face to face with John Cena, a man who's accomplished more in wrestling than most of us will accomplish in our entire lives. And what does Gunther do? He disrespects him. He disrespects John Cena in front of millions of viewers worldwide. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. It's just a work. It's just wrestling. But hold on, because what happened after Saturday night's main event tells a completely different story. A story that WWE tried to keep under wraps. A story that reveals just how thin the line between kayfabe and reality really is. According to multiple sources backstage at Raw, Gunther didn't just apologize to John Cena in character. No. We're hearing that Gunther sought out Cena privately, backstage, away from the cameras, and offered a genuine, heartfelt apology. Not as the ring general, but as Ludwig Kaiser's former mentor, as Walter, as the man behind the character. But here's where it gets interesting, and here's where I need you to pay attention, because this is where the story gets murky, and this is where WWE's narrative starts falling apart like a house of cards in a hurricane. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this. When was the last time you saw a top WWE heel apologize to a beloved legend? When was the last time WWE allowed one of their most protected monsters to show vulnerability? I'll wait. You can't think of one, can you? Because it doesn't happen. WWE doesn't build up guys like Gunther, guys who've held the Intercontinental Championship for an historic 666 days, just to have them bend the knee to a part-timer. And yet that's exactly what we're being told happened at Raw after Saturday night's main event. Now the official WWE story, the one they want you to believe, is that Gunther showed respect to John Cena and the WWE Universe, that he acknowledged Cena's legendary status and basically said, hey, my bad for being too harsh. But here's what they're not telling you. Here's what multiple WWE insiders, people who were actually in that building, have confirmed to various wrestling news outlets. Gunther's apology wasn't just about respecting Cena. It was damage control. It was a desperate attempt to repair a relationship with WWE management that had suddenly become very complicated. You see, what WWE doesn't want you to know is that Cena himself, John Cena, reportedly went to higher-ups after Saturday night's main event and expressed concerns about how the segment was handled. Sources say Cena felt that Gunther's promos were crossing a line from worked-shoot territory into genuine disrespect for the business itself. And when John Cena speaks, WWE listens. Because let's be brutally honest here, John Cena is WWE in many ways. He's transcended the business. He's a Hollywood A-lister. He's brought more mainstream attention to professional wrestling than arguably anyone since The Rock. So now we have to ask ourselves, was Gunther's apology genuine, or was it a corporate mandate? Was it a heartfelt recognition of respect owed, or was it a talented performer being forced to backtrack because he went too far? And here's where it gets really controversial, folks. Here's where I need you to stick with me, because this is going to make some of you angry. I've been watching wrestling for decades. I've seen the Attitude Era. I've seen guys cut promos that would make your grandmother faint. I've seen real heat between wrestlers that translated into box office gold. And I'm going to say something that might get me crucified in the comments. Gunther shouldn't have apologized. Now, before you click off this video, before you rush to the comments to tell me I'm wrong, hear me out. Wrestling is supposed to make you uncomfortable sometimes. Heels are supposed to say things that make you genuinely angry. The problem with modern WWE, and this is something fans have been complaining about for years, is that everything is too sanitized, too corporate, too afraid of offending anyone.
Gunther is playing a character who believes he's superior to everyone, a character who thinks the old generation needs to step aside, a character who represents European wrestling dominance and technical superiority over American sports entertainment. That character should disrespect John Cena. That character should make you want to see Cena come out of retirement and humble him. That's called storytelling. That's called building toward a potential dream match. But instead, what happened? Within 48 hours, Gunther's on Raw, apologizing, backtracking, essentially neutering everything that made that Saturday night's main event segment compelling in the first place. And you know what? The WWE Universe is split on this. Go look at social media right now. Go look at Twitter, Instagram, Reddit. The wrestling community is at war with itself over whether Gunther did the right thing. You've got one camp saying, finally, someone in WWE understands respect and tradition. Gunther showed class by acknowledging Cena's legacy. Then you've got the other camp screaming, WWE just ruined their best heel. They took a legitimate badass and turned him into just another guy who bows down to the old guard. And both sides have valid points. That's what makes this so fascinating. The pro-apology crowd argues that respect is fundamental to professional wrestling. They point out that legends like The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, and even Cena himself always showed respect to the veterans who came before them. They say that Gunther acknowledging Cena's accomplishments doesn't make him weak, it makes him smart enough to understand the business and humble enough to recognize greatness. And you know what? They're not wrong. There's something to be said for understanding wrestling tradition, for recognizing that without the John Cenas of the world, there would be no Gunthers. The foundation matters, the history matters. But here's the problem with that argument. Gunther is a heel. His entire character is built on the premise that he is the present and future of WWE, that the old ways are inferior to European wrestling purity, that John Cena represents everything wrong with sports entertainment, the catchphrases, the merchandise, the part-time status. If Gunther acknowledges all of that was just playing a character, doesn't that break the very fabric of professional wrestling storytelling? Doesn't that pull back the curtain in a way that actively hurts the business? Now let's talk about what really happened backstage, because this is where things get juicy. This is where you're going to understand why this apology is about so much more than just Gunther and Cena. Multiple reports suggest that there was a heated meeting after Saturday night's main event involving Gunther, John Cena, Triple H, and several other WWE officials. The exact details of this meeting have been kept under tight wraps, and believe me, WWE is doing everything they can to make sure the specifics don't leak. But we've pieced together enough information from various sources to paint a picture of what went down. According to insiders, John Cena approached Triple H privately and expressed that while he understood the storyline direction, he felt Gunther's delivery crossed into territory that could be perceived as genuinely disrespectful, not to Cena personally, but to the legacy of WWE and professional wrestling itself. Now here's where it gets complicated. Triple H, by all accounts, actually liked the edge that Gunther brought to the segment. Paul Levesque has been trying to bring back a grittier, more realistic feel to WWE programming since taking over creative. He wants his heels to generate genuine heat. But, and this is a massive but, John Cena carries weight that very few people in WWE history have ever carried. He's not just a wrestler. He's not just a legend. He's a brand ambassador. He's WWE's connection to Hollywood, to mainstream media, to corporate sponsors. So when John Cena says something makes him uncomfortable, WWE listens. They have to listen. So what we're looking at here isn't just a storyline development. What we're looking at is a fundamental clash between the old guard protecting the business and the new generation trying to push boundaries. And Gunther? He's caught right in the middle. So let's break down what Gunther actually said during his Raw apology, because the words matter here. The delivery matters. The context matters. According to reports from those who witnessed it live, Gunther approached the apology with the same intensity he brings to everything. This wasn't a groveling tail between the legs apology. This was measured. This was calculated. This was a man who understood he needed to say something, but wasn't about to completely abandon his character. Gunther reportedly told Cena something along the lines of, "You've earned everything you have in this business. You've set a standard that every WWE superstar should aspire to. My words at Saturday night's main event were about elevating this rivalry, but I understand if they came across differently than intended." Now read between those lines. That's not a complete backing down. That's a diplomatic acknowledgement wrapped in just enough humility to satisfy management while still maintaining the core of his character. Gunther's essentially saying, I respect what you've done, but I still believe I'm the future. That's smart wrestling. That's playing the political game while protecting your character. But here's the problem with the universe doesn't want nuance anymore. We don't want complicated. We live in an age of hot takes and instant reactions. People saw Gunther apologizes to Cena and immediately formed an opinion without understanding the context. And WWE, they're playing both sides. They get the mainstream media coverage of WWE star shows respect to legend while also maintaining enough edge to keep the hardcore fans invested in the rivalry. It's brilliant and frustrating at the same time. Now let's talk about something WWE definitely doesn't want getting out. how the locker room reacted to all of this. Because here's the thing about WWE. It's still a locker room full of competitive athletes with egos, ambitions, and opinions. And when something like this goes down, when one of the top guys is essentially forced to apologize to a part-timer, people notice, people talk. According to sources, the locker room is divided, surprise, surprise, with younger talents generally thinking Gunther shouldn't have had to apologize, while veterans and those closer to WWE management sided with the decision. Some of the younger roster members allegedly feel like this sets a dangerous precedent. If current full-time talents have to constantly defer to legends and part-timers, how are they supposed to elevate themselves? How are they supposed to become the next John Cena if they're always being told to show deference to the current John Cena? It's a legitimate concern. WWE has struggled for years with creating new stars who feel as important as the legends. Roman Reigns is basically the only modern-era star who's been positioned on that level, and even he had to align himself with legacy talent like Paul Heyman and constantly reference the Bloodline's family history. On the other hand, veterans in the locker room reportedly believe Gunther did the right thing,